Some conversations stay with you long after they end. Tonight, inside BrwnGrlz Collective Book Club, we didn't just read a book, we faced real truths. We unpacked Push by Sapphire, a story rooted in survival trauma and what it means to be seen when the world has already decided who you are. We talked about sexual assault, being misunderstood, and the realities Black women face when their voices are questioned or ignored. And with us, Dr. Vanessa Guyton, survivor advocate and founder of Hush No More, sharing truth, sharing healing, and reminding us that silence is not the end of the story. If you missed the live, this is your moment to tap in. Watch the full conversation now and stay connected with BrwnGrlz Collective. Because these aren't just discussions, they're the conversations that shift perspective, build community, and make space for healing. Hey family, welcome back to the BrwnGrlz Collective podcast, where we turn conversations into connection and connections into culture. From book club discussions to interviews to real conversations, we are always creating space for her voice and her story. If you're new here, my name is Desiree.
My name is Jasmine. Sorry, she got my cards mixed up. Trying to figure out where we're at. Okay, go ahead.
And we're getting into a real conversation today. Oh, yeah. Okay. I like the card idea, but I don't know. I feel like it could be better. But all right. Before we get into tonight's conversation, we want to first highlight an author whose work speaks directly to the conversations that we're having today. This is someone who has dedicated her work to advocacy, awareness, and creating safe spaces for women to speak on experiences that are often silenced. Her work centers conversations around sexual assault, domestic violence, and trauma, bringing light to what she calls hush topics. And that work is captured through her book. Yeah. Doesn't just tell stories, but create space for healing, understanding, and truth. So family, help us welcome Dr. Vanessa Guyton. And thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Oh, why are you laughing, girl?
Like, breathe. I didn't get to breathe. I can tell you were like, it's okay. Things happen.
Girl, I'll tell you, it's like it never fails. Monday. It's Monday. Like,
and you could change your day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, when?
Yeah.
You know, I want to do things on the weekend. You know, it's like Monday. It's a Monday. Like, you know, what? Like, if everything else is going to happen, let this happen too, you know?
Right.
So, all right. So you got your wine. Oh, nope. Never mind.
I got coconut water.
You got your coconut water.
That works too.
So you
That
like,
works
I got coconut water.
All righty. So moving into your book, or moving into the discussion in the books, what makes this so powerful is how closely your book actually aligns to tonight's book. This month's read is Push by Sapphire. It's heavy but necessary. Mm-hmm. It shows us what happens when women's bodies are not protected, her voice is silenced, and her choices are taken away.
And tomorrow we get even deeper into the conversation. So make sure you tap in to the full interview.
All righty. Before we go deeper, we're going to start with a quick game, because Precious shows us how silence, support, and harm can all exist in the same space.
Excuse me, guys. Interruption. We're gonna play.
Oh, you're mute. You're muted.
Unmute yourself,
Yeah.
friend.
Hi, guys.
Still mute.
Okay, my on.
Yeah.
All right, interruption. No. Play the game my way, okay? I'm Sierra. I'm your guys' producer today. Hello, BrwnGrlz. Hello, Book Club. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Right here today. But y'all are tuning in. So we're going to make this fun. On Monday, you know, things are happening, but we're going to make this happen, okay?
Okay, girl.
I'm going to read a statement, and each of you will answer red flag, support, or silence. So let's keep it quick, okay?
Okay.
All right. What happens in this house stays in this house.
Red flag. Silence.
Silence.
That's a red flag.
I think that's a red flag too.
Because what you talking about? That sounds like somebody's getting ready to.
I guess it's a red flag. I don't know. I guess it's a red flag.
I didn't want to get involved. It wasn't my place. That's
a red flag to me.
What you say?
I'm gonna say red flag.
I say that's silence. I would say silence.
Okay. Moving right along.
All right. So thank you, Sierra. Thank you for your participation in the game.
Better luck next time.
Better luck next time. We'll do that again. And even in something this quick, you can already see how often silence shows up. And in Precious, silence didn't just exist; it allowed things to continue. So we want to talk about that because I actually have the craziest story on reading or listening to it. So our theme this month is her body, her voice, and her choice.
And Push really shows us what happens when those things are stripped away.
And when you think about this theme, where do you see the biggest gaps today when it comes to women being protected and heard? So I'm going to ask you that question, Dr. Guyton. When you think about this theme, her body, her voice, her choice, where do you see the biggest gaps today when it comes to women being protected and heard?
I feel like in our laws. I feel like, it's fact that the laws that they are pushing takes away a woman's right, a woman's choice in her body. I believe that if you don't have a vagina, you shouldn't vote on a vagina and have an opinion of a vagina.
Amen. Hallelujah.
So the laws won't allow us to even have proper health care as women, abortion rights, to be able to say, this is my body and I don't need a law to tell you what I should and should not do with my body. I shouldn't be forced to have to be married. My husband should not have a voice and say so over my body. And so I think those are the biggest problems because when your government system leads the way in the way that they view women, it trickles down.
Yeah,
and
right.
So, especially in the state of South Carolina, like if anybody else, I don't care if he here or not, if anybody votes for Lindsey Graham, that's a woman, you are not really looking at the voting laws in our state. So you have a certain group of men that intentionally continue pushing laws forward that do not allow us to have rights over our bodies. And I think that is the major gap.
But I mean, yes, but I also feel like there are women that are also pushing the agenda, the same agenda.
That's true too.
And
that's
so
jumping in, right?
Those are pick-me's, girl. They trying to get shows.
But women are not necessarily the women politicians. Well, majority of the women politicians are pushing for women rights, but then the women that are voting are doing exactly the opposite. Yeah.
But there was a video that I just saw, and it was talking about how they were saying that they're the push for women to have babies and how they were pushing women to have babies. Well, you're never going to be ready and you're never going to have enough money. And it just basically was like, just do it anyways. We were doing it long before you were. And then the other side of it, it was like, well, the cost of living, food, groceries, care, healthcare, like we don't like it costs just to push a baby out $10,000 and we don't have free healthcare. And it was like, so you just want more bodies.
On top of that, you're also not helping those women after they have the baby because there's that part too. Because the baby needs to also be able to be taken care of, food, clothes, shoes, all those things need to be happening too. So y'all so pro-choice, but don't want to do nothing to help. It's crazy to me.
Yes. And so what we're going to do is we're going to ask everyone that's on right now to just try. For everyone that's on right now to drop what that means to you in the comments. What her body, her voice, and her choice means to you. And now, before we go deeper into the book, we ask the community to help us choose what we're reading next. So we took it to the streets and let's roll
that bean footage.
Ooh, I forgot about that. Anytime
today, producer.
Oh,
did you?
Yeah, I see it. It's supposed to be playing. Mm-hmm. Remove it. See, this is why I don't like StreamYard no more. I'm moving to Ecamm. Y'all heard me. I'm moving to Ecamm. Yep. That's that. It's like nothing
to softness, she blooms anyways. This is Sierra from the BrwnGrlz Collective, and our theme for this month for May is From Survival to Softness, She Blooms Anyways. And I have the pleasure of interviewing, if you don't mind, tell me your name, age, and where you're from.
My name is Carla. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm 39.
Good morning, Shanette Gray.
Dr. Shanette Gray.
Dr. Shanette Gray. I'm originally from Chicago, born and raised, and I'm 54.
Okay, my name is Jaden, and I'm 17, and I'm from Columbia, South Carolina.
My name is Tona Buck. I'm from New Jersey. I just moved to Columbia, South Carolina, and I will be 55 this month.
Woo! Happy birthday!
Crystal, I'm 36. I'm from Watts, California.
My name is Liz, and I'm 16. I'm from Blackfoot, South Carolina.
My name is Diana. I'm from Trenton, New Jersey. I'm a registered nurse, and I am 57 years old.
Yeah. Black don't crack. Okay, all right. Okay. So we got 3 books, and I'd like you to help us to choose which book to read, okay? So the first book is Red at the Bone. It talks about surviving the legacy and how women have carried pressures and how choices we have made to survive in survival mode. And still life continues to evolve while we bloom. Okay. That is a fictional. And basically it's about one decision made in survival mode that ends up shaping generations of women after her. Okay. The next book is called Everybody's Looking. It's a breakout of survival into self-definition. It speaks about growing up under pressure, expectations placed on women, choosing yourself anyways. It's like a kind of coming of age, like a poetry type of novel. Okay. It's about a young woman raised in strict expectations, finally choosing who she wants to be instead of who she was told to be. And then our last book is all about love. It basically is a transition to softness. It actually shows what love actually is, how survival shapes and how we give and receive love, and how to unlearn and rebuild emotions. Okay. This is a deep look at how we were taught to love and how we have to unlearn survival habits to experience real love and softness. So if you had to help us choose a book, which one would you choose?
Everybody's Looking.
Okay, and why?
I feel like everybody should learn how to grow up under pressure and just like learn their inner selves.
All about love. I would choose that one.
Okay. Yeah. And why would you choose that one?
Because I think we have like such a traditional way of looking at love, and we need to look at it differently, and it should be big and unencumbered and just beautiful. Right. And loving not only loving ourselves, but the people around us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Say book 3.
Book 3. That was all about love, and why?
Because us as Black women, sometimes we have that negative image, and we're hard and all that good stuff. But it's good for all of us to know how to be loved and how to be loved properly. So
I think I would go with the first one. I feel like it kind of resembles my life. Okay. I had children very young, and I made up in my mind not to be a statistic. I was going to be a successful mother, raise successful children in the world. So it relates to me.
I think I would pick the first one. It sounds like it could help girls my age learn different things.
I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to ask you a question. If y'all had a book to read, it should be that second. By Tona Buck, me. It's an amazing book about survival. I'm a sexual abuse survivor, April Sexual Abuse Awareness Month. Okay. And the book talks about the 3-year-old girl who was sexually abused in her journey. That's second on Amazon, so y'all need to put that on your next watch. But I would pick the first one if I had to pick the first 3 books. Okay.
Pick Red at the Bone. The reason why I would select that book is because I think it's a reminder of issues of legacy, generational trauma, things that we can pass down, great habits or bad habits. I have 2 girls, and so for me it's important to lean in on stories about how the example that we're setting, the things that we say, the things that we don't say, the things that we do and the things that we don't do, set an example for them.
Right. This is Sierra from the BrwnGrlz Collective, and make sure you follow, like, and subscribe. Thank you.
Yeah. So, alrighty. So it looks like we have 3 for Red at the Bone. So we're going to ask you which book that you think we should read for the month of May.
Red at the bone.
So Red at the Bone is at the lead. So again, audience.
It says it's red at the bone. Okay.
So that goes back to the audience. Y'all go ahead and y'all tell us, based on descriptions, what you think we should read, or what you have read and what you think, or how you thought it matches our theme, and all the thoughts that you have about the book. Period. Because we want to be sold on which one we want to read. Yeah.
Yes, our live viewers, make sure y'all put that in the comments, what you think we should read. Give us some hearts, guys. Give us some hearts. We need some engagement if you can, please. And thank you while you're here. I love it. I'm sorry. Okay.
All right. So yeah. So now let's get into push. So I'm gonna ask, what was the hardest part of this book for you to sit with?
Oh my gosh. Oh, you
gonna ask her first?
Yes. Okay.
We're looking at you, man.
The hardest part was the mama. The mama got on my nerve. To have a mama like her mama, like she was set up for failure. So the mama, that was the hardest part, because I'm like, lady, like that was the hard part.
And this is what I want to talk about, because on my way to, I was actually headed to one of my cousin's wake this weekend, and I was like, it's a 2-hour drive. I can get this book in and out. So my mom, my sister in the car. My sister is like not having it because the book in itself, like, it reads
cringy.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like the most awkwardest time to read this book. So my sister, she got on her hymnals and in the church music, just hush la 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 la. And my mom was in the back seat trying to act like she was asleep. But when it was the good part, she was like, ooh. But they was complaining the whole time, talking about why I had them listening. I'm like, look, y'all want me to drive? I have so much going on. I'm reading. This is how I'm getting this book done today. This is what's happening. And so,
oh my God.
But yeah, so I'm listening to the book, and there's a lot of things that are going on personally. And I'm just thinking to myself, it's like, there are people out here who have parents like that, and there are people who could never imagine having parents like that, or that's even a real thing. And then when you look at people and how they, their relationships with their parents, like, it's like, it could be worse. Like, just because your mom is maybe overbearing or controlling or to a certain degree, will at least, it like puts things into comparison. And I'm not saying that, worse or bad situations, because everybody, thrives or, forced to grow in whatever pot they were placed in. But it just made me think, like, mommy, I love you. You was not that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just had me in that moment. But what about you?
There were so many parts. Listen, this book is definitely a lot like the movie.
Yeah.
Usually you don't get that. So I thought it was going to be even more cringy stuff, because I've only watched the movie once, because I could only stomach it one time. It was just way too, like you said, the mom, she was just doing too much. And the fact that specifically the part where she was molesting her, that took me out. I was just like,
because
why?
Yeah, before we say too much, let's move on to the next one.
Please.
What do you think finally allowed Precious to begin using her voice?
The school system, the educator. It showed me just how important it is for us to have educators to teach us our voice and to allow us to have that space. It was the school, the teacher, the alternative school to me.
Especially the teacher who supported her and helped her express herself and, gave her that journal for her to be able to write those words down and write how she was feeling. I felt like that was so pivotal for her in her life, and she needed that so bad.
Because just understanding that she didn't know how to read.
Yes.
she didn't know how to express herself even through words, because remember, she didn't even talk. Like she said, she never talked to people. Like she didn't
she just told people shut up.
She just told, something like that. And so it was like now she's able to actually use her voice. I thought that was that was the part. Learning for me was just the education of words, like how, like even as a baby, right? You learn words. I'm angry. I'm sad. Like and it's like, well, she couldn't even recognize those emotions because she didn't have the vocabulary or the education to support that. If that makes sense.
But she also didn't have permission. Her mom would constantly tell her to shut up. They didn't want to know what she had to say.
Right. It didn't matter.
Been given. Yeah, I don't care about what you got to say, what your opinion is.
Yeah.
So we never had permission to do it.
And so the next question we have is, what does this story reveal about the systems that failed her? Like WIC, or the, all of the stuff that her mom had her set up for, the hospital. Like, I mean,
there was a lot of system failures. One school, she was reading on a second grade level, but was in the ninth grade. Like, how did you get to the ninth grade? They couldn't read or write. Like, that was a system right there that failed her. The social workers that would come to the house, they failed her, right? They would come to the house. All those caseworkers failed her, right? Even the nurses, when she had a baby, like, she had a baby at 12. Like, there was no investigation. How did this 12-year-old get pregnant? So you failed her there. So I'll let y'all share some more, but those stuck out the most for me. Who failed her? The grandma failed her.
The grandma, yes.
Everybody around her failed, because even when it got to a point where they were looking forward to seeing her, or when it got to her being able to go to the school, and they were like, she was like, I've never had no one, looking for me to come somewhere. Just the little things that it's like we take for granted every day. Like, the people really wish to be in these positions. And I also really like I had something to say about her mom, because when I talk about her mom failed her, from a childhood. My question is, you come and you say, and it's like I'm saying too much because I have something for this part. But it's like you said that when you first had her, she was just, I bought her all this stuff. I was really happy that I was having a daughter, and this, that, and the other. And then your man, now it's like competition with a 2-year-old. Not even, I think, like, how old was he?
I don't even think she was that old.
She was little. Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
I think the main, to me, the most important, even though there were a lot of people who failed her, but I feel like the main people who should have caught that was, like you said, when she went to the doctor and had that baby at 12 years old. Why wasn't nobody trying to question or figure out, hey, what happened?
Yes.
Like, why is this 12-year-old pregnant? Like, who's the dad? You know what I'm saying? I feel like all those questions should have been asked, especially since the child also has Down syndrome. I don't know what most doctors should know. A lot of times that happens when it's incest. I don't know if y'all do that, but it does. So, like, nobody wanted to check that. Like, nobody wanted to be like, hey, where's the dad? What's going on here?
She had no prenatal care.
She had no prenatal care.
Right. Red flag right there.
Yes.
She didn't even know she was pregnant until she was giving birth. But
she didn't know what was going on. She's 12.
So, moving on to the next question. What's one thing people still must misunderstand about consent?
One, that if you're a child, there is no consent. That's what they didn't understand. There was no, she couldn't consent. She was a child. What are you consenting to? She didn't even understand. So that part, when people say it's rape, to me, you were raping a child, but they'll soften it up with like molestation. No, you raped that baby. The baby won't consent. So that's the main part, I think.
The difference between molestation and rape. But I think molestation, because
it's just classified as children versus an adult.
Yeah.
You raised that child, and I say it all the time. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I don't like the word molestation. You raised that baby, and that baby couldn't consent. And even when another misconception is that sometimes sex does feel good. Sometimes people do ejaculate when they're forced, or that's a misconception. Is that you're still not consenting, but you can't control your body, and a lot of people have shame and embarrassment and remorse because of that. But there's nothing that you could do because it's a physical response, and so there's a lot of misconception about consent from that part of pleasure.
Yes.
That got me something to think about. Yes, that is something, because it made her confused, on, who and how I relate to this man. And
just how she was when she was trying to recalling everything in her mind, she was like, I hate that I liked it. Like I did not liked it. I liked the way it made me feel at one point, but I also felt disgusted at the same time.
I don't like how I feel.
Right. Because
I like the feeling, but I don't like how I feel.
Right, exactly.
And it's like, to think about like her going forward in actual relationships, like how does a healthy relationship form with something like that? You know what I'm saying? Because, they just had me questioning, it just got me going. This is one of the books. Like, it's like, how do you talk about it? Because I feel like, and this is the problem, is that having these conversations are uncomfortable, right? And then, to make it even more uncomfortable, we're on live.
Yeah.
So it's like, to say the things that you want to say about something, it still is a uncomfortable feeling. And I think this is probably why a lot of people, we don't to talk about it, but I feel like we're talking more about it. So,
I'm not uncomfortable. I like to talk about it, and I'm excited that it is the topic. And we shouldn't be uncomfortable talking about sex in any fashion.
Right. I'm like, girl, that's the I have no problem talking about that with friends, but as far as like, having conversations broadly with people, because you don't know what people's ideologies or thoughts are, and and I want it to be a discussion, not a debate or something like that. Yeah, we can't help that, but I do like to push our topics outside of the box, because at the end of the day, being comfortable doesn't get you past, doesn't really take you anywhere, and you learn more when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Yeah. All right, so we're going to move to like our deep questions, deeper than that. Let's see. Hold on, let me make sure. You want to ask me? Oh, sorry. There was one last question. What does feeling safe actually look like for women today? I think I just answered that though. Being able to have these spaces, or pushing yourself past comfortable, and to have these conversations, to be aware, in a sense. That's my answer.
I think that you processed it. I think feeling safe, it's dimensional. So, do we feel safe in our neighborhoods, in our communities? Do we feel safe when we're on a date? But it's up to us. And I think we all have this intuition. And depending on what your intuition, the butterflies in your stomach determines if you feel safe or not. I believe in using my intuition. I believe in when the thought is there. So I rely heavily on myself. At all times, our brain is scanning to determine safety. Like that's the whole one of the purposes of the brain. And so paying attention to that. But for me, feeling safe is where I could speak my mind, where I don't feel like I have to hide, where I don't feel like I'm not aligned with the people around me, where their opinion doesn't matters more than mine. I don't feel safe. So I've worked on safety a lot because I'm a survivor of sexual assault. So safety was big for me. But I feel safe now because I trust myself and I trust my intuition. And I trust that I'm going to go with my first mind. So that's what safety means to me. I'm sorry, I went the long way to get there, but
no, it's fine. That's all right.
I do want to take a brief second to acknowledge our
our listeners
and people, and read some of the comments.
We got listeners.
Yeah.
Today.
So, so we have 5 for Red at the Bone. And someone said, so this plays into children having the right to choose their sexual orientation. So if they can't consent to sexual misconduct, can they actually consent to their sexual orientation as a minor? And then I think in a response of it's mentally and physically.
I think that for me, I don't think that they should undergo any surgeries or anything like that as a child. Because you never really know. A lot of people don't, even do things like that until they're, like very, very old. You know what I'm saying? Even like, the Bruce Jenner and, stuff like that. There's plenty of women who are, waiting until they're that age. I feel like like you said, it's your body, your choice. And I feel like that's for men and women. You do whatever you feel like you need to do. However, as a child, no, I don't think that a child should be able to be like, okay, well, now I want to go ahead and have all these surgeries to do X, Y, and Z. If you want to express yourself however you want to express yourself, me personally, I don't mind. It wouldn't bother me any. But we're not getting any surgery. You're not taking any hormones. You can do that once you get grown and old enough to, really make those decisions on your own.
So then I think what that kind of does is it asks the question, because some people can ask the question, well, when does her body, her voice, her choice starts to apply? At what age? Because I know like a lot of people who go through that transition, they typically don't want to go through that transition until puberty. So when they start realizing that parts aren't looking like the parts.
I feel like when you can pay for it.
Dr.
If you living in somebody else's house, why I got to pay for it? You pay for it. You want it so bad, and you grown, go ahead.
So first, I don't want to compare sexual misconduct with sexual orientation. They have nothing to do with each other.
That's true.
Sexual misconduct is the abuser doing something to the child. That child is not choosing to be abused, to have sex or anything. So they're 2 separate entities. Selecting your orientation, that's not even the physical part. I have a cousin named Tracy. When we were 5 years old, Tracy was with us. He was playing with the dolls and wearing his mama high heel shoes. Period. He didn't choose to be that way. And a lot of them, if you're born that way and fighting that is hard. I don't think that you should have the choice to change your body until your brain has matured, right? And men and women brain, normally you're not even mature till like 19 to 25 years old. Our brain is still growing. So how can you make a decision and your brain has not matured for you to be able to make that decision?
Absolutely.
So I do not think that children at 12 have the capacity, the mental capacity, the brain hasn't developed. So that's where I look at it at. Once we get to there, then it's your choice to be able to do that. But I also think choice of body starts very early on. I teach body autonomy. I teach nobody touches when you're in Pampers, changing that diaper, you should be telling that baby nobody else is supposed to be here but mommy and daddy, right? Like, this is a safe space. You have voice, you have a choice. And I tell kids that all the time. So I think that it starts very early of your body. It's just certain parts. When it's changing your body, then that's when your brain kick in maturity. But I do not compare sexual orientation to sexual conduct. They don't go together.
Definitely 2 different things. You're absolutely right about that. Because you can't, like you said, you can't control what somebody else does to you. Right? If somebody, especially as a child, and you don't really have, you're always told, you have to listen to your elders and things like that. And so you think you doing the right thing by listening to this person that's telling you that this thing is okay that they're doing to you. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same as, I feel like I am this. And this is how I feel comfortable. Because now they just telling you that how they feel comfortable. I feel comfortable with you calling me Eric, even though my name is Erica. Okay. That's you.
All righty. Well, we are going to move to our film moment.
There's a scene from Precious that really stayed with me, and this is the moment where everything is finally said out loud. Roll that clip.
Talk about the actual acts of physical and sexual abuse that occurred in your household. When it first began, where it happened, and how did you respond?
Precious was a little girl.
Try and remember how old you think she was.
She was 3. And I had been giving her the bottle. And I was giving Carl the titty because my milk hadn't dried up in my breasts. But not from her, but because Carl was sucking on them. And that's what kept my milk in my breasts. And I thought that was for hygiene. I did what my mother told me that I was supposed to do with my child. So that's what I did. And you're sitting up there and you're trying to judge me.
I'm not judging you, but you're asking me for money and you're asking me to be reunited with your grandson.
But Miss Weiss, I don't like you looking at me like that. You got this bitch looking at me like I'm some kind of fucking monster.
We don't talk like this in my office, okay?
I didn't want her sucking behind him because that was nasty. And the things that it was just nasty, Miss Weiss. I had a man and I have a child. And I had to take care of both of them. Okay? Did I want Carl to touch my baby? Because I would lay my baby. I would lay her on the side of me on this pillow. And it was pink, and it had this little white writing on it, and it had her name, because she was precious. And I would lay my baby on that pillow, and Carl would be laying on the other side. And then we would start doing it, and he reached over, and he touched my baby. And I asked him, I said, Carl, what are you doing? And he told me to shut my fat ass up, and it was good for her.
And what did you do then?
I shut my fat ass up. And I don't want you to sit there and judge me, Miss Weiss.
You shut up and you let him abuse your daughter.
I did not want him to abuse my daughter. I did not want him
But
to hurt
you allowed
her.
him
I
to
did not
hurt
want
her.
him to do nothing to her. I wanted him to make love to me. That was my man. That was my fucking man. That was my man. And he wanted my daughter. And that's why I hated her. Because my man, who was supposed to be loving me, who was supposed to be making love to me, was fucking my baby. And she made him leave. She made him go away.
So whose fault was it then?
It's this bitch's fault because she let my man have her and she didn't say nothing. She didn't scream. She didn't do nothing. So those things that she told you I did to her.
All right, so yeah, that scene can continue to go on, but it was a few things that I wanted to discuss about it because it was like that one moment, even listening to the book, like all I could see listening to that book was that moment from the movie that I had not seen in over 10 years or whatever. Because like Jasmine, I might have watched it once, maybe twice, but at the end of the day, my family typically, the one group people see it, they want to show the other group, and the first group I
would have happily put my finger up and went to another room because I did not want to watch that again.
But
I just wanted to say about the mom though, really quick, because I thought about this also when I was listening to the book. She didn't know what the world she was doing either. So the system also failed her as well, because if you remember, Carl was older than her too. So I believe Carl, she was getting molested by Carl first, but she grew up, ended up having a baby with Carl. Now Carl got another baby that he could jump on. You know what I'm saying? And her mother taught her how to, taught her these things. She didn't even know that this man taking her baby's milk, thinking that it's not sanitary.
Well,
it's crazy.
She was talking about him being on this breast, but
still, the fact of the matter of it is, you thinking that it's not sanitary for your child to have your breast milk is insane. You know what I'm saying? Somebody told her that was okay. Like, oh, well, you shouldn't do that because it's not sanitary. Somebody told her that. I don't know if it's her mama, but somebody told her that. That's what I'm saying. She also was failed. Not that to make an excuse for her, but she also was not taught correctly either. So a lot of people got failed in this situation.
Well, yeah, because I mean, like she said, like I literally was listening to it, and I'm like, your mother told you this. Now, what I took is that she was giving him the breast milk, and she didn't want her daughter suckling from the nipple that he was suckling from because it wasn't sanitary. But then it goes back to saying,
still doesn't make any sense.
But his wee-wee in her little pee-pee is sanitary. Like, I don't know. But it was just like, it was a lot of different things for me. And like, I literally was in the moment just like feeling bad for the mom, not in the sense of like, it just was like, we couldn't help but feel bad for her. Cause it's like to be that, I don't want to say uneducated. That's the word. To be that uneducated, like in a lot of things, because I feel like maybe she didn't know how to express herself either. I don't know, but it was just like I felt really bad for her, even though like most people would be like, "Oh, why would you feel bad for her?" and this and the other. And I'm like, because like it don't seem that she was maybe a little, what's the word? Because
misled
for saying things like slow. Can we say slow?
I don't know.
Can we say slow? Producer person? No. She was maybe mentally unstable, or had some. She had something. Like she has to have something, and I think she hadn't been diagnosed. And then she had a child, and and that I don't know. That's just kind of where I was with that. But that whole situation was crazy to me, that you then turn and blame the victim for
still blaming her.
But then you're sitting here calling, like, because what do you want to be reunited for? And then the lady,
she wanted money.
The money, yeah, but I'm saying, like, you're calling, yeah. So you literally say all that just so you could get that check, or did you really feel?
That's exactly what she wanted to get,
because she didn't even mention about the sexual assault that she was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no! She didn't bring that
up. She was like, "Well, who's gonna please me?" And I felt like that was the lead-in to maybe why she was sexually assaulting her daughter or having her daughter do this, because she wanted pleasure. That was all she, could think about.
What you think?
I'm ready. So first of all, she's a liar. She's a hustler. She's a manipulator. But that's also a product of her environment. That's how she's had to survive, right? That baby was not 3 years old. That baby was younger, because no 3-year-old is still on no bottle and ain't on no breast milk. She's not even the type of woman that would breastfeed her child past a year or 2 months. You know what I'm saying? So she was lying. The other reason why I didn't have no sympathy for her was because she knew it was wrong, because she kept saying, "Don't judge me." Mm-hmm. When you think somebody is judging you, you know that your actions are wrong. And also it happened to her. So she knew like what it happened. So she really was just about the money, and she was about herself, and she was very selfish, but it's also a product of her environment, of how she grew up as well. The next thing was, she knew that it was wrong for that man to be doing that, but because he got gratification from it and it made him happy, she allowed it to continue. She allowed that to continue because she wanted to make him happy by all means. How she grew up being molested and things like this, she went through a lot of trauma of her own. She verbalized and mentally made it seem like it was okay, which was also why it was a hush topic for her. She was never going to tell them that it happened to her, because she didn't want nobody to know that. She still had to process that. And also a lot of times when you're the earlier you are introduced to sex, the likelihood of you being overstimulated through sex, or not overstimulated through sex, of you being hypersexual is the possibility. And she also had very low self-esteem. So she was hypersexual. She wanted to be pleased because of what had happened to her so much as a child. But she also didn't have good self-esteem. She didn't think that she was beautiful. She thought she was fat. So she did everything that she could to be able to please him. But it's also an example of when you don't heal, when a mama don't heal, then everybody else is affected. Her grandkid is generational now. So you have a choice. And she knew what happened to her, and you make choices, and she chose not to heal and let it continue to the next generation.
That's true.
So that was my view of the mother.
And you know what? And I really feel like, you really broke that down. And that is why conversations like this matter, because it's just not about what happened. It's about what was allowed, what was ignored, and what needs to change. So I do have, I'm gonna have you choose. Yeah. Close out. We have a closeout question, and you get to choose between the number 1 and 5. So choose 1 or 5. Between 1 and 5.
Okay. Let's do 1.
Dang it, girl. Look, okay. There wasn't really a choice here. I've got to make it seem like you did, girl.
Give it to me. I'm ready.
What does the moment show us about how long truth can be hidden when silence is protecting the wrong things?
Say it one more time.
Number 1.
One more time.
What does that moment show us about how long truth can be hidden when silence is protecting the wrong things? And I think this was related more to the film. So the section of when the mother kind of said her lies.
So the silence of the truth also prevents her from getting to the next level. Like if she'd have been honest about what happened to her as a child and the things that she had experienced, and she might not have saw nothing wrong because she got through it and it happened to her, then maybe there's some healing could have been done, some services that could have been given to her. The social worker really was there, listening, saying, what's going on? So when you lie or you keep it a secret or you hide it, you don't get the help that you really could get the help on. And it really wasn't about her daughter. At this point, it was about her. Yeah. She blamed everything on her daughter, and she accepted no responsibility. No responsibility. And so that just makes it even worse. She had narcissistic tendencies as well. So she blamed everybody. And
I understand. You said you said all this, and you think I'm gonna give you? But that's why I feel like she wasn't well educated. She thought that saying these things was still gonna allow her to be able to get the money that she came up here looking for. She didn't know well enough to leave that out. People that have their right mind and a little bit of education would be like, oh my God, nothing like that has ever happened. Or, something like that. They'll lie a little bit better than that.
It was her norm. To her, it was the norm of her family, maybe even the mother too. So it's not wrong to her because this is how they've always gotten by. And she also has a very positive poverty mindset and where she's growing up at. It's happening in other families too. Her friends, her family, her cousins. So it's not wrong to her. It's not abnormal. So she gonna tell it. She's gonna say what happened because it has always happened. So in her mind, ain't nothing wrong with that. And she's a hustler. So, and she's always been using the system, and she's seen how the system has been used, and people will give you more when they feel sorry for you in their mind. Okay. So she was telling us almost to make them feel sorry for her. This is happening. She took my man. She wanted empathy and she wanted some sympathy. And so crazy. Right. He really had it, man.
Who can not speak or nothing, can't even walk. Took your man.
Took your man. You ain't have him in the first place.
In your man's lap. Oh wow. Because she wanted. So we do have a question from the audience. Trauma is real in both men, women, and children. How do we address this before it gets to a precious point?
One, being honest about it, getting help. having a conversation. If she had help about the sexual abuse that she had experienced, even domestic violence, like she's experienced so much trauma, it would have prevented from going down to her daughter, right? And so you have to get help. When you acknowledge that something is wrong, you have to do the work, and so that you don't pass that to the next generation. And I think that's where it's at. Asking for help, knowing that I'm a new mom and I don't know how to raise a child. I'm doing the best that I can to say something is going on, but instead of hiding it. And so I think that's how we address it at the beginning. And also awareness. Sometimes if you are not aware of certain situations, then how can you prevent it? I always say that awareness plus knowledge equals prevention. And so that's why I'm real big on talking about what is it? What is consent? What is rape? What are these things? Because they become so common that we don't even sometimes realize that they're wrong. But she did know that things was wrong. So having the discussion beforehand and healing. Our system doesn't talk about healing, that it's possible to heal. You're going to be on medication, you're going to be on this. But you can heal from sexual trauma. You just have to have the desire and go and do the work. And she didn't have any of that. And she was okay with where she was at. She was okay of being poor. She was okay of not working. She was okay with being depressed. She didn't ever get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes.
So, she was okay with it. But we could do and have conversations before it gets to precious point. And
I want to add, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Keeping that what stays in the house, what happens in the house stays in the house. That I feel like we're starting to move past that, but I think that needs to keep getting pushed a little bit more, because a lot of times that's what happens. People don't want to talk. They'll be like, oh, okay, well, don't tell nobody because we just going to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? We'll deal with Uncle Johnny, later. You know what I mean? We'll keep an eye on him for next time, instead of actually getting the help for the child that he, did something to, or, you know what I'm saying, making sure that he goes to jail. You know what I'm saying? Seeing those things is important, starting inside of the home, not just always waiting until somebody else sees it. Okay, well, you said this such and such happened. Okay, well, let's make sure that gets taken care of.
Yeah, let's take care of it. I like that point. Yeah. And when you look at trauma, right, and you look at the things that she's been through, did she need help? Yeah, she needed help. But she made a conscious choice to turn evil. That's why I don't feel sorry for her. You ain't got to call your daughter no bitch. Like, she chose to become mean. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I no longer have sympathy for her. Do I think that she has depression? Yeah. Do I think? But she made choices. And every day is a choice. And you could either live a life of depression, sadness, anxiety, or you could do something about it. She chose not to.
But then not being educated, you don't know that there are choices out there to a degree. I don't know. I mean, from the looks of it, and that's just, me looking at it from a different perspective and understanding that not everybody's educated. Like, this is why people speak on these things. For a long time, we didn't know a lot about sexual reproduction, and now we know about sexual reproduction at 9. So we won't be standing inside of the kitchen water break and realize we're pregnant, or stuff like that. And even with sexual assault awareness being taught in schools and stuff, so that kids are aware that they're not supposed to be touched and stuff like that. We have this education now that we didn't have before. Yes. And so, for me, even though, yes, I feel sorry from the beginning, not where you ended up, but sorry that you went down this road that brought you here. Yeah, like all the things that happened to you. That's where I feel remorse. Yeah,
and that's why I said I feel like she also was what's the word? She was also
she's caught up in the system.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was misled. Like she wasn't taken care of either. Nobody was there for her either. You know what I'm saying?
So we make choices, because how many people were not taking care of his children?
That's true.
Became a better mother. Amen. There's always a crossroad, right?
I feel like it's because you intercept a person, or a person intercepts you, right? Because to think if Precious would have never gotten that that teacher looking at her, giving her a voice and giving her this, that, and the other, would that cycle continue because of the anger, because of her not being able to express herself? I feel like if the mother never had an experience to meet someone to change her path and trajectory, then she might just stay on that. Because sometimes I feel like you have to meet. I'm not saying you have to meet someone, but there are keys that we each carry that unlocks things in other people. And if she's never had the opportunity to live from her mother to this man, then having this child, she's never had the opportunity for someone to unlock this key. And this moment could be that key to a degree, or, that key, she could just decide to throw it away, because we don't know what happened afterwards unless there's like a...
but she might have had somebody that tried to help her. We don't know. I mean, we don't know much.
But she also knew it was wrong. She knew what was happening was wrong and affecting her daughter.
Yeah.
She knew.
I
get it when you don't even know what it is and you've never experienced it. Nobody would tell you. She knew it was wrong. That's why she didn't want to be judged.
Mm-hmm. But she said it anyways. I don't know. Like, it's just the fact that you just said it anyways. Like,
that's crazy.
At this point,
but she said it and then say, "Don't be judging me."
Don't be judging me. Wrapping up. Yeah. So, first of all, we want to say thank you for sitting with us in this conversation.
Yes,
this wasn't easy, but it was necessary. And you guys, if this spoke to you, listen differently, support differently, and create space for women to be heard. So please remember tomorrow, her interview is going to drop. If we can put that interview, we do have Dr. Vanessa Guyton's interview airing tomorrow at 8 a.m. So make sure you guys check that out on YouTube. And if you're not following BrwnGrlz Collective, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel and stay connected for more community cultures and conversations. And this has been Community Culture and Conversations. We'll see you at the next book. Bye.
See ya.